Yes, because you didn't have anybody else. So whose responsibility, if you are running a large organization, a mall, there are a lot of malls in Singapore, whose responsibility is it? You have like 100, 200, shops, and obviously a lot of eating places. It's the mall's responsibility. You all go down there. I could see that that's the way it goes. It is not that difficult. It's actually whether they want to do it or not.
You are saying that you can amalgamate the waste manager kind of scheme within the energy manager?
Yes, because
I thought they are dealing with actually two different issues.
I think
the waste manager is not going to generate more waste so they have more energy.
No, but the thing is, what happens is very simple. If you have two people in charge, then it's no longer my baby, it's going to be pushed to somebody else. Waste is a form of energy.
Yes. Okay. Alright. So you're not asking, you're not asking for an answer, right?
That's actually my question is, why can't we do that?
Okay, just to answer your question, Womras is actually exploring waste manager license or permit per se. We are still in the midst of exploring or processing it. So we're actually working very closely with NEA to look at how to come up with this scheme and what kind of courses or modules that the managers need to go through in order to have this person certified as a waste manager. So we're actually looking at that. And this certification will actually come under our TAP center. Yeah, it's in the process. Thank you.
I'm really proud about what Melissa and the association are doing here in Singapore, and I hope that it becomes a model which we all know about and we can replicate. A different answer to your question. There's another thing government can do, and that is green public procurement. And you hit upon it when you said, before giving a tender, I want to see what you do with your waste. Okay. Well, how about before I give you the tender, I want to know what percentage of that product or that service that you're going to sell, that I'm going to buy as government, is coming from recycled materials. The United States has a fantastic scheme called the Bio-Based Preferred Purchasing Scheme, which has stimulated the whole production of materials from biomass, bioplastics for example. There are now 14,000 products registered with the government scheme, which last year turned over $369 billion of turnover in the industry. And there's one example of what government green procurement can actually do to transform an economy. That could be one of your answers.
On that green procurement, I can't talk too much because I really don't know much about it. But I do know that Singapore is also thinking about, it's not so much a green procurement, but it's a whole green supply line kind of concept. I'm looking very much now with China, because China has set up their regional centers on the green supply line. So these are something that I guess we will see some developments and certain directions that we will adopt. Any other questions?
My name is Steve from a company called Resourceful Asia. We're in the area of from waste to fuel, SRF. I'm also in the Womras ESCO committee. I have two questions, mainly for David. The first question is about the tipping fee, which just now you mentioned that you hate this topic. So Singapore, we have a tipping fee for the installation plant, and it has been there for close to 10 years. And we have been very careful in setting this fee and how to manage it. And one of the reasons is that we worry that it may cause damage to the local economic competency if we set a too high tipping fee. And it's a very important component of for the recycling industry, especially in the current context of very low commodity price. And I understand from the Europe perspective, you have so many member countries, and some are more developed, some less developed. You have this extended producer responsibility scheme, you have this landfill tax scheme. So I just want to have your view in terms of what is the right type of tipping fee system or gate fee system or tax system that meet the most optimal balance between a cost for the waste generator and a main drive for the recycling industry. and when there's any concerns in terms of too high tipping fee or too high tax system, actually cause the main burden to the other industry, other economy, and cause the country to be less competitive. So this is question number one. Another question is that just now we touched on the commodity price, which is sort of related to the areas, to the countries. Different countries have different position in the value chain, even in the recycling area. And one of the challenge I think all the recyclers we have been facing is cross-border movement of scrap materials, recovered materials, which cause a big effect to the business model as well. I just want to understand that what are the initiatives that ISWA is doing in terms of cross-border movement of scrap materials, and we know in the world trade area, the HS code, the normal commodity, normal cargo is very well established. But in terms of scrap material, recycled material, a lot of countries, the government, maybe due to pride or maybe due to practical reason, they say this out. We can't import the waste, we can't import the rubbish from other countries. But actually it's quite a good feedstock for their local industry as further processing of the material or as an end user of the recycled material. Yeah, so that's the question. Thanks.
I was hoping Melissa would answer some of the questions. There's two questions really, and that is about taxes and competitivity, and the other one is about the cross-border movement of waste. Tax system, which is the best, the one that works? In other words, there's no model. Every model can work in its own time, in its own space, in its own place. What I do see, however, are systems which have very, very high results. In other words, the results are what the politicians, what the policymakers desire if three things are in place. Firstly, clear objectives in what way you want your waste to go. In other words, you want it to go to energy recovery or you want it to go to materials recovery. Europe is going on the materials recovery route at the moment. And as Ong said, there are 4 countries which have achieved that 50% recovery target. But those 4 countries have achieved that target because they have had clear objectives in time and space that industry and consumers must meet, first. Secondly, they have penalized, through taxation, disincentives, alternative forms of landfill or incineration. Second. And thirdly, they have worked very, very heavily on the consumer. In other words, on the generator of waste, so that the collection systems function. Okay? Now, if you have very high taxes, as the UK does, without the objectives, a little bit like the UK, what do you get? Export of waste. So the UK only has perhaps part of that puzzle filled, and the result of that, not filling all the gaps in the puzzle, is 500,000 tonnes of RDF is now being shipped to Scandinavia every year to avoid the landfill taxes which there are in the UK, which I believe this year are £85 per tonne. Okay, so very, very high. Okay. So the best tax system and the competitive problem is a question that has to be answered by what works. What works is according to the policies which you make over the long term and you decide you want to implement. Okay? Certainly I think that what works in Austria, what works in Belgium, what works in Scandinavia, particularly Sweden, what works in the Netherlands is worth imitating, because they have got where they want to be by doing a series of instruments. Collection schemes, taxation, disincentives, clear objectives in the long term. Okay? Does that answer your first question?
Looking for stricter formula.